Yo guys, what's up and welcome back to Marvelous Chats. My name is Finto. Tonight I'm joined by Hoffman.
Hey, what's going on?
We're talking about Boba Fett episode 6. And my god, what an episode.
Huge episode, man. A lot going on in it.
Yeah, what did you think?
Overall, like I give this, it's a weird grade for me because like my excitement levels are like 10 out of 10, and then my like actual how did I enjoy the show and the episode is more of like a 7 out of 10. Like it's on two different levels is hitting me because there's so much fan service and me like geeking out. Like it's not fair for me to only have one score for this. I am ecstatic about seeing everything in the episode. And then I'm just kind of mid about, what actually happened in the episode. So I got like 2 scores there. What about you?
I personally loved it. I like start to finish. It was just great. So much fan service. Getting to see Luke, seeing Shamuk doing what he does best, and just absolutely killing it. Like if you're to compare the deep fakes from last year to this year, it's night and day the difference. And what's it going to be like in another year? It's going to be even better. So that was amazing. And just like I don't know, bro, like everything was just, for me it was just fantastic, everything about it. I think we're going to just go through the episode. We're going to break it down fully. We're going to talk about it. I'll bounce points off you, and let's just dive straight in. I think is the best way to do it. So episode starts off. We get our boy Timothy back, aka Cobb. Amazing. Dude. I was delighted to see him back. He was such a great part of season 2 of The Mandalorian. He's such a great actor. I thought of you straight away because I know you're so into the Western vibes and stuff. That's your jam. So when I saw him back and I was like, this is like the Wild Wild West, I was like, this is fucking cool. I was like, Hoffman's going to love this shit. What did you think of him, kind of the whole spice deal and all? Like, I thought it was badass.
Yeah, I love it. It's like the classic Western. We're on Tatooine. Let's do Western stuff, right? Timothy Hofmvn is just like a great actor. I loved him in his Justified series. So seeing him reprise a role here and just come out and be that marshal with that pistol is just something I'm always excited for. I'm like, anytime they show him on screen, I'm in for the scene.
Yeah.
I love his gun. The thing I love about in Star Wars is always like looking at their pistols and stuff, right?
They're always so different.
And the thing I think is really cool is most of the guns in Star Wars are kind of based on like German pistols, right? And from like the Second World War. And then you have his, which is like an honest to God revolver from the West.
Yeah.
So I just think it's like it's just awesome, man.
Like, how does that exist? How does that exist in Star Wars? I know. It's a little on the nose. It's nearly like, like what we've been seeing with the modding and stuff, like in the N1 cruiser getting like the manifold on top. It's a little nearly too close to home, but at the same time it's cool. Absolutely loved the intro. Fantastic scene from him. Mando. We then shoot to Mando. He's arriving on the planet. We don't really know what planet this is, but this is where Luke is building his temple. Some nerds in the comments might be able to tell us what planet this is. I don't know, but
I feel like this is the one that we saw in episode 8, where Luke was like when he had flashbacks where he built his temple. I think it's like the same place, right? It's meant to be that.
Yeah,
like,
I believe so. But do they mention a name? Like, do they mention a name of the planet? I don't think.
I feel like it starts with an E. I feel like we know the name of the planet. We don't, but like it's known.
Yeah, I need to research a little more. But I thought that was great. We get to see R2D2. I think I said this in previous videos. It's a simple win for them. People, I was noticing online, reactions were freaking out. I thought it was cool. I wasn't really freaking out to see him, but it's cool. It's cool to see where he is. He's hanging out with Luke and stuff. Like it's where we would expect him to be, So it was cool. It was cool to see him. Then we get to see these ant bots that are building the temple, and it's such an iconic moment in time. Like Luke's temple's being built. Like this is where he's going to train the next group of Jedis. I was like, this is amazing. I'm just loving seeing all this happen. Like it's stuff that we've just imagined, or you've read it in a book in the past, or you've read it in a comic, or played it in a video game. I was like, just being able to see this on the screen as part of the canon now is just crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, loved it. Then
that was cool. All those ant robots, the things were hilarious. Like my girlfriend was like freaking out because she's so creeped out by those. and I I just wasn't expecting it. Like I seen all these like rock, structures, and I thought Luke like would have built them with like his Jedi Force,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
floating the rocks into place. But like no, it's just robots.
He's
He's
off
like the rest of
training.
us.
Yeah, he's off training. He's like, you guys sort this out. You've got your programs. Go fulfill them. So yeah, look, we move on to Luke and Grogu meditating. Luke looked fantastic. We've spoken about this offline a little bit. I know you had a bit of a problem with the voice.
Yeah.
And I understand. I can fully put my hands up and say you're 100% right in what you're saying. It doesn't sound like Mark Hamill. It sounds a bit robotic. It sounds a bit like one tone or whatever. And
Yeah.
you're right, but I'll take it to see the content. I'll take it. It's better.
Yeah.
It's better than not having Luke.
So they're doing it by like training, like they use an AI and they use all the lines they've ever recorded with Mark Hamill. They compile it together. Then this creates this AI voice. It's this great technology. It's fascinating that they can do it.
Yeah.
But it is a little monotone. It is a little slow. I feel like the Luke when his dialogue was going on, it felt a little offbeat a little bit. And it's cool to see, but it's definitely like when they're talking about doing a Luke Skywalker show. I think we all kind of know the rumors are in the air. I couldn't watch I could not watch a whole series like that. For me, like it's just too much. It's too noticeable. I wish they would just just hire another actor like Sebastian Stan, someone else you find. Just hire Luke. We understand. We get it. I'd rather see an actor in there than this. But like you said at the top of this, the deepfake technology, massive leap.
Yeah.
One thing I felt about it is I feel like the deepfake looked better this time and less noticeable that it was like not really a human being there, so to speak. But it looked less like Mark Hamill. That's kind of weird. It's like they laid off it a little bit more to make it look a little bit more realistic.
I think they tried to age him 5 years from Return of the Jedi, whereas I think when the last deep fake, what they did was they just tried to plaster his face on as close as they could get, and it didn't really make much sense. So now he's a little more aged. You can see there's like scars on his lip and stuff. I'm like, they went into some serious detail, and I think it works better because he just looks a little different because he's aged 5 years,
Yeah.
So like,
but blown away by how good that got within.
And like, imagine, let's say we do a Luke show, right?
Yeah.
That's not going to come out for 2 years. Like a Luke show in 2 years' time, what's the deepfake going to look like in 2 years' time? It's going to look 10 times better. It's going to the audio will sound 10 times better. Like Mark Hamill is credited for this, and we know from watching the gallery that he was in Mando season 2. I don't understand how I know his voice would sound a lot older, but Mark Hamill is such a talented voice actor. I think if you asked him, he could probably do his younger voice. I think that's in a skill set that Mark Hamill would have. So what I don't understand is why don't they actually get Mark on, get him to do the lines, and then deep fake using that actor, so they have a body double, but they're actually doing Mark's vocals. I think that works better because then it flows a lot better. It's a lot more real.
Yeah, I mean, if he could pull the voice off, then sure, why not?
But even if it was his older voice, like, would you care that much? Like, I wouldn't. Like,
nah, probably not.
I don't think so. And like, I don't even think like, I've listened to a lot of interviews with Mark Hamill. He doesn't sound like an old man. Like his voice isn't all shaky and old and stuff. So, if I just heard him doing his actual voice, I think it works. I think it works perfectly. I think they're thinking about this a little too hard. I don't even think they need to be using this audio now, unless they're using the audio for the reason that Mark doesn't want to be involved. That's a different story. He's like, yeah, use my likeness, that's fine, but I'm not going to come in, I'm not working, I'm not recording lines for you. That'd be different, but I don't see him doing that. It doesn't make any sense. Like, I think he'd be game for it all over the place because this is the Luke that he loves. This is George's Luke Skywalker. This is the story that should be told.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what they've done behind the scenes. I don't think, I'd have no reason to think he wouldn't want to be involved in this. After they feel, they brought him in to be the body double, so to speak, for himself.
Yeah.
In the, when he came into the Mandalorian, I think he's very excited to play a younger Luke, and maybe they gave it a try and didn't work out with what like using him as his own voice.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Back to the episode. After that scene that we were just talking about, Luke invites Grogu to go on a walk, and I love that he's using the little force hop, hop to like just jump him down the road as they're talking. And this was one of my favorite scenes because it's Luke talking about Yoda, and I just thought, oh my god, like this is again stuff that like it's like I'm delighted that we're seeing these conversations happen. He's talking about Yoda. He's asking him, does he remember any of his lifetime like with Yoda or any other people of his kind, and then we see him
Mhm.
use the Force, and then we get that Order 66 scene from the temple.
Woo!
Oh my god, bro. Epic.
That scene was crazy.
It looked beautiful.
Because I don't know how much we know about Grogu, right? Like I have to go back and watch The Mandalorian and what they kind of gave away about Grogu, but actually seeing that he was at the temple during the order,
Yeah.
I mean we're assuming he's at the temple, right? Like
Yeah.
he could have been anywhere and people just training him. Um, but that scene was legendary, and I think it like actually puts up a lot of questions about Grogu. Was he rescued there by another Jedi? I know there's some people who on TikTok who are like noticing some of the symbols on the wall about some Jedi's who they think were
Yes.
may have been right there, or did nobody save him? And does he have time spent being trained by someone of the dark side? Like a Sith or something who took him.
Palpatine.
There's a lot of questions for Grogu now. I think because of that scene.
I think one of the main things from that scene to take is that it's like the stormtroopers we see are the 501st. That was Anakin's squad, and they're the squad that marched on the temple with him. So it's presumed that this scene is taking place in the temple. A lot of people are saying that they think Sindrellic is the actual Jedi who we see die, and his two Padawans to his right and left. Now, there's a lot of people are saying that was him. Some people are saying it isn't, because we see the security footage when Obi-Wan finds out that Anakin has turned, that he's fighting them, and I honestly don't see them getting out of a fight with Anakin. I'd say he would have slain them in a fight, but I don't know. Again, they've kind of changed the canon here and there a little bit, so maybe they've changed the storyline. Yeah, I don't know if another Jedi rescues Grogu. I wouldn't be surprised if he went into like a prison for a long time and was being held captive by Palpatine, because when we meet him it looks like when we meet him at the very start of The Mandalorian, how does he get from the temple to there is the question. Like, has he been captured the whole time and maybe he gets freed or what? I don't know. I've seen some people thinking that the librarian in the Jedi Temple, they're saying she might have rescued him, because like she was an absolute badass in lore. So that's amazing. Oh, that's Order 66 scene. I was just freaking out. I
wasn't expecting it.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting it at all, and just it's gotten me so hyped up for the Obi-Wan stuff, because if they're gonna do an Order 66 flashback here, they're doing flashback stuff in Obi-Wan's show. We're probably gonna get a de-aged Anakin, a de-aged Obi-Wan. Like, I'm freaking out. I can't wait. Like, it's my favorite time in Star Wars history is around that time of like Revenge of the Sith is like my favorite movie, and it's all Anakin, it's all Obi-Wan, and all, it's like, for me, so it was just, it's so special, dude. It's so special. So getting that scene was just incredible. And then to make another scene that I wasn't expecting to see was Ahsoka coming back as well. I wasn't expecting to see her, and I thought it was quite cheeky that Mando's first line is, "I wasn't expecting you." I was like, well, I actually laughed and said, "Me neither."
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what did you think of Ahsoka's scene? Did you think it was good? Like, I kind of personally, I liked how she was kind of maybe schooling him on the whole Padawan thing, and how attachment and so on, that maybe Din, I suppose he had heard about it from the armorer, but again, when you see it in practice and you're hearing it from the mouth of a Jedi, it's a different story. And he's referring to him as a youngling, Mandalorian foundling, sorry, and she's like, why isn't he a Padawan now? So it's like, it's just kind of trying to change Din's mind on where Grogu is and how important it is that he remains in his training and so on. I thought it was a great scene. What did you think?
Yeah, I mean, I love Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka. I think she works very well. I mean, anytime she comes on the screen, her lightsabers hanging off her hips are like so badass. Like, I love the design of her hilts.
Yeah.
We're talking about him being a foundling and a Padawan. Why not both? We know we got the Mandalore in the history who's done both. We got the Darksaber hanging around. But I do think they're setting up that idea of separation and not owning, and her being kind of someone who's from the more old school of the Jedi, right?
Oh yeah.
And Luke being someone who's kind of new. And I think they're playing with it there. I think they're setting up, because at the very end there's a scene where Grogu has to decide, and I feel like they're setting us up to play that scene against us, because I don't think Luke agrees with the ways of the Jedi Order, right? Versus Ahsoka, who was trained by it, where she's talking about like a lack of attachment, where I think Luke might be more so inclined to be someone who is more about attachment. It's like, no, I think they're setting us up there.
That's exactly the way I would have seen it, and I think it's strange that Luke gave him that choice, because it's like, why would he give him the choice when he now knows what happened to his own father due to attachment? You know, it's like, okay, this clearly doesn't work, you know, and Ahsoka leaves the Order. She obviously has her own way of doing things. Yeah, I would have just presumed that Luke would have had his own set of rules, and I think in Legends that was kind of implied. Luke gets a wife in Legends, he has kids, you know, so I don't know if they're planning on going different in the canon here, but Luke was definitely...
Well, this is what I'm thinking, is I think that Grogu will choose the shirt and choose the Mandalorian, and Luke will see that and be like, okay, you chose attachment, I want to teach you now because you chose attachment. Like, I think they're setting this up to where it's like, we think if he chooses the lightsaber, he goes and beats the Jedi, and Luke teaches him. I think it's if he picks the shirt, Luke is going to train him to be a Jedi. Yeah, because I think they want to go opposite with it.
I think a lot of like what's going to actually happen now, whether it takes a time to happen or not. But I do believe that he will become both. But I think he will choose Mando, and I think someone said this in a stream I was listening to earlier, and it makes a lot of sense. So he'll choose the shirt, and then Luke will be like, fine, I'll bring you back to the Mandalorian. Luke goes to Tatooine to drop him off and gets caught up in the middle of the war with Cad Bane and everything. Boom. Luke in the finale, swinging the lightsaber around Tatooine. I think that's very, very likely what might happen. I like your theory on what, like, you know, he'll kind of use it as him passing a test. I like that. I do. I think that's great. I think that's good as well. But I do think the end of the story is going to be Grogu as a Mandalorian Jedi, like Tar Vizsla. He'll be the second coming of Tar Vizsla.
Yeah.
And I think he'll be wearing that mesh, and maybe that's why Kylo Ren couldn't kill him. Maybe Kylo Ren tried to kill him, swiped him with a lightsaber, thought he was dead, but he was actually wearing the mesh and didn't die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think this too, because I think they're trying to set us up to drive Luke to how we get him from the end of the original trilogy, where he's a hermit and he gives up on everything. Because I feel like he's going to do his whole order where it's like attachment matters, and his whole way, like his way of thinking is actually going to work.
Yeah.
And then it ends up not working, right? Like he wants everyone to have attachment. It doesn't work again in the end. And that's why he like ends up becoming this hermit who everyone can't recognize, is because like he falls that far because of his ideas. And I just think it's starting with Grogu.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, I want to dive a lot deeper into this, and I think we will do that tomorrow on the podcast. I think we'll go real deep on this, because there's so much stuff that I want to talk really in depth about, and I'm dying to get Alex's opinion on a lot of stuff as well. So it's going to be really good. What did you make of Luke when he was doing? So he goes back to his training with Grogu. We see that kind of recreation of the Yoda scene from Episode 5, which I just loved every second of. And then he's in like the bamboo. It was like very like kind of samurai, and he's like swinging around the lightsaber. I was losing it, man. You're like, you know me, like I love lightsabers. That blade is like probably one of the most iconic blades ever made, and I only recently bought it myself, and just to see it moving around, and bro, I was losing it. I loved it.
Luke was looking a lot more fierce and a lot more like an actual swordsman in that than I've ever seen him in Star Wars.
Yeah.
Before he was more like acrobatic when he was fighting and everything, and that actually felt like it was some serious moves with like purpose.
Yeah.
But can I just say, can we stop doing the Luke jump where he like hops up real high? The first hop of him in that running sequence, they put it everywhere. It's so weird looking, man. He just like, it's like parkour, hop over a rock.
Yeah,
He's
like
a Jedi, man. We get it.
I know. Yeah, like it's like get him doing like bigger force jumps and make it look like more magical. Like it's like I'm sure anyone could do that jump that he's doing. Like, you know, it's not that special.
It's like someone trying to make a fan film, you know, like out in the back, they're just jumping through the forest. They're like, Jedi.
Yeah, absolutely. I loved Grogu's training with the remote as well. I thought it was really cool where he gets shot and then he starts doing his little flips and stuff. I was losing it, bro. I thought it was hilarious. He's like doing his little front flips and stuff, and then he destroys it with the Force. And that was a great scene. Really enjoyed it.
They're like, yeah, good job.
Yeah.
You destroyed it.
Yeah, thanks for destroying that. That was Ben gave that to me. Imagine, like,
they're definitely setting us up for Grogu to be That was the fucking one big game. It's my last thing from Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
Thanks, bro.
Yeah, thanks, bro. You just sunk it on me.
They're definitely set up Grogu to be like this really extraordinarily good Force user very quickly, and I think that they're using scenes like that and this long training sequence with Luke to kind of hedge their bets against the way we all felt about Rey, where it's like she's been a Jedi for 5 seconds and she's like so fucking good at everything. What this doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
I feel like they're setting that up with Grogu, especially with the line from Luke where he's like, "It's not really like I'm teaching him. It's like he's remembering everything."
Dude, I was about to say that. That was my next thing that I was going to say. Yeah. So when Ahsoka arrives and we finally get to see the two of them on screen together, again, another moment that me as a nerd just loved every second of it. Yeah, it's the thing. It's like, you know, she mentions that the training's going very well, and Luke actually. What I loved about the scene was as well, it actually shows like Luke's struggle. Luke is struggling to teach him, like, you know, and he looks a bit lost, he looks a bit broken. And at the start of the episode, I kind of presumed that Ahsoka was there because she references him as Master Luke, and I'm like, is Ahsoka answering to Luke here? Does she realize that he's the most powerful because he killed the Emperor? Blah blah blah. And then at the end of the episode, at the end of their kind of time together, he's like, will I ever see you again? Implying that she's mentoring him. So I'm like, which way is it going? We don't really know, but you get the start of the episode, you get the feeling that he's mentoring her, and he's the master. But then it's like at the end, it's like he's like, when are you coming back? Like he's kind of like, I need help, you know. So I thought that was quite interesting because we think that Luke is like, you know, he's the most feared person in the galaxy at the moment because like, you know, he wiped out Vader and he wiped out the Emperor and stuff. But he's still a new Jedi himself. You know, it's very interesting, and it's a story that I hope that we get to see, we get developed into a proper series. You know, I'd love to see it. This is the time that we like all want to see. Anyone who's a Luke fan, this is the time period. You know, in the Legends games and stuff like that, he's a lot more wise, and they say that between episode 6 and where he like starts his own academy, he's like searching the galaxy looking for, you know, Jedi artifacts and all this sort of stuff. Like, so I think it would be fascinating to see all of that actually happening in a series. Like, that would be like really good to me. Like, I'd love to see him traveling the universe, coming into fights with people, you know, learning stuff about Anakin, maybe seeing Hayden as a Force ghost and that, like teaching him and stuff like Ben would have. It would have like that shit would just be fire to me, dude. I would love it so much. Yep. Love it so much.
But you know, I kind of hope they're not pulling a DC where they're putting the cart in front of the horse a little bit. I wish they, you know, all this stuff like seeing Luke get to this point. I wish they would slow down and show us a series about Luke getting us to this point before we see Luke teaching anybody. You know.
Yeah, and I kind of think as well, like, because, you know, we're kind of to presume that Ben was his first student, Ben Solo, and now it's like he's saying Grogu's his first student, so now that kind of makes me think that maybe Grogu isn't going to be a Jedi. He's going to go with Mando, he's going to choose to go back, and then, like, the N1 Star Cruiser has a little pod in the back, which is either going to sit Grogu in it or something else small, you know, so I don't think that, I don't think that Grogu will become a Jedi, like, I think he's going to become a Mandalorian instead. Yeah, God, like, just to kind of move on a little quick because we're going up in the minutes here. We're like 23 minutes in already, and we haven't even spoke about Cad Bane yet.
Man,
yeah, just to jump a bit forward, Mando goes back to Tatooine. He meets up with Boba. Boba just stands there, doesn't say anything, has no lines. And I think
to see a Boba Fett cameo, huh?
I just think, like, to be fair, right? Like, I think, and there's interviews out there with Morrison, who the actor who plays Boba, and he was saying that he wasn't a fan of being on set. He didn't like all the lines he was saying. He's like, Boba Fett doesn't really talk. Why am I speaking so much? Blah blah blah. And I think in this scene, this was probably one of his favorite scenes because he just got to stand there and look kind of badass and mysterious and just be like the Don, like the boss. So I kind of like that scene. Mando comes in and he offers to help, and then he goes back to Cobb and asks him and his people to help out, and basically he kind of refuses, but he says he'll think about it, I think. So Mando ends up going back, and then we have the Mexican standoff with Cad Bane and Cobb. I'll let you talk about this part, man, because I know this. I was thinking about you the whole time. I was like, this is a Western movie right now. We are in the middle of a Clint Eastwood movie. Go.
Yeah, I love the way they set up the premise of the deputy being the problem, right? And not knowing what he's doing right from the very beginning.
Yeah.
Right from when Mando shows up, deputy's the problem. Great storytelling right there. But when we see Cad Bane walking in from the desert, when you see that hat brim and you see that jacket, you know, that is not that deep of a cut for Star Wars fans, but it's something that people don't know about if you're just watching the movies, right? You have no idea who this guy is.
Yeah.
So for like my girlfriend who's just watched the movie, she's a Star Wars fan, but she's just watched the movie. She hasn't gone deep on anything.
Yeah.
Like seeing him walk up in there, I'm sitting there like knowing what's gonna happen,
Yeah.
knowing how dangerous this guy is. And it's just him walking in from the desert. The whole episode is called, you know, God, what was it? A stranger comes from the desert or something.
Yeah.
And like that's the scene. He's walking in from the desert with the thing. They got his brim down under his hat, his voice or over his eyes. His voice was amazing, bro.
Chilling.
He's one of those characters that like worked really well in animation, and I was actually very curious if he would actually work in live action, right? Because he has such like weird features and stuff, and they nailed it.
Yeah.
They nailed it. He looked amazing. His voice was amazing. His eyes were
Amazing.
fierce.
Yeah, fierce.
Fierce.
The detail
And then
in it
that-
was crazy, dude.
That scene, that like standoff, it was so tense.
Yeah.
Like you just feel it, man. What would you think? Did you like that the whole deal?
I loved it. Loved every minute of it. You know, Cad Bane. I'm a fan of the animated Star Wars. I've seen him like fighting Obi-Wan. I've seen him like killing Jedi. Like he is a badass. Like for anyone who doesn't know, he is the most feared bounty hunter in the galaxy. And I loved his line about Boba Fett. It was one of my favorite lines of the whole thing. Boba Fett is a stone cold killer who used to work for the Empire. And it's kind of just reminding people that, like, yes, look, Boba's changed now, but he has a reputation out there within the bounty hunter community and the universe as a whole as being a fucking badass who worked for Vader, he worked for the Empire, and so on. So I love the scene. I love what it's building up. I've been kind of predicting it for weeks anyway, but like we kind of knew it was coming. But yeah, like obviously I'm to presume that he's either hired by Crimson Dawn or the Pikes are working for Crimson Dawn anyway. It's all connected. And in the last episode, just to kind of talk about like what do we think predictions wise, I think like Cad's gonna fight Boba. Cad might fight. I think Cobb is still alive. By the way, I don't think he died.
I agree.
The deputy's gone for sure, but I think Cobb lived and he'll join the fight with the rest of his army. And I really like the idea of Luke dropping Grogu off and getting caught in the middle of the mix. Like I think that'd be because I genuinely think Boba's side need a lot of help, and I think Luke being there could be a real help. Like I don't think we'll get Ahsoka. I think it'll just be Luke if it's going to be anybody showing up with a lightsaber. I don't think we're going to go full blown yet.
I agree, and it'd be interesting to see if Luke actually gets involved in like these kind of side politics squabbles within the criminal underground, right? Like he has no real reason to, unless the people from Freetown are involved, and Luke might be there to kind of protect them because he sees like just like civilians and stuff, trying to do the right thing. But I suspect that the mayor is going to die in this at the very end of this episode or the very end of the season. But I think everyone else is going to.
Who cares?
The mayor. But like, I think everyone else is going to make out of it. Like, I think Boba's going to win the day. Cad Bane, like, I think he's going to like kind of fold into the shadows and kind of like take off, and so he's still alive in the universe for like the next episode or season of Mandalorian or Boba Fett, whatever it is.
I think a lot of people might be upset because I think this isn't going to go well for them. I think they're gonna lose. I think Crimson Dawn are gonna come in and fuck shit up, and I think it's gonna be like Empire Strikes Back. I think end of Empire Strikes Back, everybody's licking their wounds. It's like they lose the fight. It's a lost day, and I wouldn't be surprised if this show ends on something like that, and then just brings us into Mando season 3 to kind of resolve some of this stuff.
Boba Fett dies in this, I'm just gonna be done. Like, thanks for taking us on this ride with Boba Fett for nothing, literally nothing.
I know, I'm not, and I very publicly say I'm not a Boba Fett fan. So if he did die, I wouldn't care. I'd probably laugh because I'd just be like, I can't believe they've done this to people who are diehard Boba Fett fans. But yeah, if he did die, I think it would be a bold move. Maybe they have to lose this fight, and it's how they get Boba off Tatooine. Maybe that's the only way he gets off it, is if he's forced to leave the planet. That's kind of my prediction, and then maybe that's how he gets involved in the Mandalore War, because he has to leave Tatooine because he has to leave with his tail between his legs. Like, he loses the fight and he can't claim the land he wants. yeah, just kind of just as well. We've touched on it already a little bit in the video, but just the last scene of the episode is Luke presenting Grogu with the choice, and we see Yoda's lightsaber. Massive scene. It actually has implications for canon because in the comic books you see Yoda's lightsaber be destroyed. So they have retconned something, which tells me that they might retcon more. Who knows? I've heard some very interesting theories. I won't talk about them here, but overall, dude, I'll definitely be talking about them tomorrow, 100%.
Yeah.
But yeah, like overall, dude, it was a 10 out of 10 for me episode. Like honestly, like the fan service was crazy. I couldn't have asked for any more. It was just, I was over the moon with it.
Yeah, I mean, like I like all the fan service in terms of like seeing everyone. Like I said at the very top of this, like it was great seeing Luke. It's great seeing Ahsoka. It's great seeing Grogu. It's great seeing Mandalorian. Like it's all really fun stuff to see. And it gets me excited as a Star Wars. But it's just it's a little too much fan service for the sake of fan service. And I feel like we left the story and the plot behind for the overall series. And it, I know that this is not, isn't necessarily all about Boba Fett now, but I've been watching this series and I want to pay off for that series. And it's been 2 episodes now where it's like, why did we even have the series to begin with? And that's a bit deflating. And I don't think the episode as a whole was as good as the last one. I think episode 5 was better than this.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like episode 5 was an absolute banger. Like one of the best episodes of TV ever. So yep. It's hard to beat it. And I personally, I'm not rating one over the other. I just love the fact that we got the both of them. I kind of consider the both. I consider the both of them to be a connected episode because literally Mando says at the end of the last one, I gotta go visit a friend, and then we just see it all just happen. So in rewatch, I think watching those 2 episodes back to back would just be magic. So yeah, I love it. Love every minute of it. Guys, we're over the half an hour, so we'll end it here. So if you're new to the channel and you like the content, hit the like, hit subscribe on the channel. We do a podcast live on Twitch every Friday, but it'll be up on here on YouTube, usually on Saturdays, maybe Sunday, but it's up over the weekend. So yeah, make sure to pop on by. We'll be going way deeper into this in this week's podcast for sure. So yeah, thank you for watching the video, and we'll see you soon. Bye bye,
everyone.